one, but that's where this DK Grimstroke, though, is fearsome. This is the answer. I feel like if nouns now perhaps ban out the Abaddon, which is the Chinese answer to this DK, then suddenly you're a little bit hard pressed, I think, if you are Wildcard. Of course, still have that Storm Spirit in the game, still have those null talismans. Nothing has changed. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a mini patch after, and then we'll see, Storm Spirit never be picked ever again, because it's what always happens in these types of small tourneys up until those majors. But I feel like this is going to be a really easy lineup for Downs to execute. I think versus the Storm Spirit, you constantly have to be careful, especially if you're going on heroes that aren't the DK. It's where now for Wildcard, constantly finding vision of that Dragonite is going to be where Esk finds the space to make those plays. If he doesn't know where the DK is, though, there's always that threat of just getting blinked, dragon-tailed. I think if Moo has a much easier game, if he has a much safer game, would love to see him get a fast blink dagger, then actually get to play offlane a little bit more than that previous Mars performance.
Now, I am sort of looking at this one in a little bit of an interesting light. You see Wildcard talked about them banning out the Pugna, they banned out the Bane as well, so those are a couple of Sammy heroes taken away. So it's into the ultimate question: will we see Sammy play the support Storm Spirit again? Because last time it
Mm-hmm.
was unbelievably impressive, a little bit busted. We got to talk to Sammy directly about it, and he was just ranting and raving about how much fun it was, while also how broken the null talismans were. So they could be looking for it again. Might be part of the reason why they're so willing to take some of those other 5 heroes out of the pool.
Yeah, and well, the most obvious choice here for nouns is they lead in with their next support because it hides, well, the most here. But you are right that there is that thought in the back of your mind here, and I think that's why they prefer the coddle for a majority of reasons over the other two combos they could have gone for, just because there is that possibility. Will Sammy Boy get to play Storm Spirit again? Will we get a last pick counter here from Wildcard? If they are picking their mid laner, we will have to see it in that last pick on their side. Unfortunately, they don't have last overall. Otherwise, they'd have a definitive lane choice. But that's where you can certainly see them having that threat and posing that threat up until the end of this next phase. I feel like that's where with Wildcard here, probably just got to pick Divine Yemson's hero here if they really want to keep us guessing. And I feel like they really should. At the same time, though, Enchantress, a hero that we've seen really only a few times, more so banned out than actually seeing it get played, aside from phase one, where that hero did make it through a little bit more, but fantastic hero. We always talk about it versus these kind of weaker range supports where you just get in, you're super obnoxious. Although that's your Devi hero. And okay, interesting. Maybe we see, I don't want to say we see Esk on the coddle, but we've got a few too many heroes yet again.
Well, hmm,
Could
makes for
just
an
be the
interesting
Esk
situation.
Storm, right? Could just be the Esk Storm at the
Right.
end of the day, you know? He didn't get to play Storm last time, so maybe that's what we see happen here. But okay. I think now nouns need to look at their own draft, though. They can't really look at what their opponents have. Wildcard have a very basic, very safe lineup, pretty much exactly in line with what the patch is. I feel like now would love the Pango, and it's the Costabile Jug, which is really good. It's really great versus the Mars. Don't want to kind of undersell it here. And with the TA band out, it should be a little bit more stable than I think we've seen some other Juggernauts. But I would really love to see that Pango right now. That'd be such a good pick for them.
Yeah, I mean, the Jug, I don't know. It can still be stable. It's just not always the most exciting of picks. And last time we saw it, it didn't really do a crazy amount either. But see what Kosable can do with the hero this time around as we move into the final phase of the bans. Puck out first from Wildcard. Nouns, meanwhile, just take an aim at that carry pool as they start with the P. So at this point in the draft, uh, technically there might still be a little bit of flexibility in terms of where the currently picked heroes go, but not enough to really change up the bans.
Yeah, and looking at the carry pool, it's very obvious that Wildcard need a carry. I think the PA band is appropriate. You need to cover your jug a little bit here. I think that's where Wildcard most likely going to look at a ranged Scotty carrier. We've still got the Medusa available to you. We always talk about Medusa Mars. I still have the Monkey King available, which of course could really make that DK's lane just feel absolutely terrible. Makes it very obnoxious to deal with. And that's a very fast pick. And it's the Sven. That's the old counter versus Jug. Will he be successful this time around, though? I don't know. It's been a very, very long time. We saw a Sven earlier on, played by Parker, but even then, you feel so strong for the first 35 minutes of the game, and then you just fall off a cliff.
Scaling is something that becomes a bit of an issue. The itemization can sometimes alleviate that concern, but even then, it's not as straightforward as some of the other more late game oriented carries that we've been seeing sort of popping up at this event. But if you're wildcard, maybe you're hoping that you sort of hit in that sort of 30 to 35-minute timer, much like they did in game one, where they can just sort of push ahead so significantly that drop off later is not really a concern for them.
Yeah, and now I am still considering really heavily with the Pangos still. I think the Ember was another very good choice they could have gone for. It's why I think Wildcard banned it out because it just kind of makes sense, you know. You hear Gunner Ember in your mind and you shiver at the double digit KDAs, but at the same time, I think they are also considering how well they want to scale here. If they want to just double down on their pushing power, could certainly see them go for a hero like the Leshrac. Then they have DK Lesh with a healing ward behind them. It's that siege engine that the old Four Zoomers with Sammy Boy at the helm was certainly a strategy that they had pulled out many times. But 5 seconds left. Let's see what it is, Nouns.
All soon. There we go. Pick is in, and it's a Rubik. Uh,
DK mid,
or
or is it a core Grimstroke?
I
Or
think it might.
no, it is gonna be the Gunner Rubik. Now this
Hmm.
is very different. This is I don't want to say something they've never done, but in a pro game, I feel like it's been a hot minute. This is really kind of sidelining us here. And versus the Storm Spirit, well, you could Steel Ball Lightning. It would be really funny to see Gunner just buy 4 null talismans and then Steel Ball Lightning, but I don't know if that's what we necessarily want to see. And hey, there's a lot of spells that you actually do want to steal in this game. You've got the Spear, you've got everything from the Snapfire. I just really am scared now because of that Storm Spirit just kind of having a free window. Telekinesis is great. That's your instant stun if you do ever catch him out. I am just a little bit worried about what he actually builds to scale because that's where I think Wildcard kind of hit this really scary BKB timing where they run at you and then Nouns kind of keel over because their magic damage is just not going to be there after that fact. And it's something I'm incredibly concerned with for them.
Well, it's not going to be boring. We can at least say that. I don't know exactly how this is going to play out for Gunner, but will be some exciting stuff. And I mean, we've talked to them repeatedly, multiple members of their team who always go on about how these group stage games are a great chance to try some stuff out, to experiment a little bit. And to be honest, they're almost certainly going to be safe from elimination in this group stage. So, you know, they can afford to try some things, and maybe they end up looking like geniuses with this mid Rubik play. But it is still something that provides sort of a lot of question marks, and of all the teams to try this against, a wild card's probably the one that have the highest probability of punishing you.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate, but hey, it's where maybe Gunner knows something that we don't. Maybe this is the stolen strategies, and they very confidently picked it when they had other options. So you need to hope that there is going to be that other level of confidence. I mean, at the same time, if they really needed to, they could have just put the DK mid and then picked another offlaner for Mu. So I think that's where Gunner's got to be confident going into this game. He's got to have a sick performance. You know, maybe he's like Baby Thompson, right? You know, he's got to do something incredible, and he's got a lot of magic damage to play around with. I really am just worried with how Wildcard itemized if that's just going to shut him out of this game. Because you know that's what Wildcard are going to go for. It's going to be 3 nulls and a BKB on the Storm Spirit. It's going to be a Blink Dagger and Echo Saber and a BKB on the Sven. It's going to be Blink BKB from your Mars. I just hope that Nouns can really find plays in the in-between.
You know exactly what they're going to be building and when they're going to be trying to come at their opponents. Nouns should know that as well. So, you know that it's coming, but we've seen in the past, just because a team knows what's coming doesn't mean they're in any position to stop it. And for all the utility, for all the damage that this Rubik can bring to the table, you will never really be overly durable. It's going to get stunned up there. That's an interesting cookie. Not going to connect on the stun itself, but maybe it gets divided to position for the rebuke. They get the slow, but I don't really know if they can actually get this kill. The reinforcements are coming, but the same can be said for nouns as they're starting to turn. Devi's the one in trouble. There's going to be the Blade Fury from Costable. They get the first kill, and they might find a second here as well. Yamsun's not in a great spot, but he will... Oh, he will turn around for that hammer, and Gunnar got a little bit greedy there. Now his teammates might be the ones who are suffering here, as Costable will retreat. Sammy's going to channel out and illuminate. That does not connect. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 trade there. If you're nouns, you get the first blood, so probably feeling slightly better about that, but I don't know. Gunnar did not need to go down there in exchange. He just tries to get back in and do too much.
Yeah, but hey, you do give the first blood to Gunnar, so he's going to be able to start out with a little bit more items. Actually, doesn't go for the bottle rush. I think he's setting out a full null right now, and well, that's going to give him a few more fade bolts. You know, no spell amp, but it's certainly going to make his life, I think, a little bit easier versus the Storm Spirit. And I do wonder how this lane is going to play out here. I think it's very simply going to be Gunnar not trying to take trades in those creep waves and then just playing really heavily up on the Storm Spirit wherever that Fade Bolt is kind of still on him with the debuff, just because, well, Fade Bolt's a really annoying spell. It really makes you lose pretty much any trade. It really, I think that's all he can do, is just trying to win these trades so consistently. If Esk is forced it by himself, as we usually say, that shows that you won the lane.
Gunnar, okay. Telekinesis is there. It's going to allow him to get just a couple more right clicks in, and yeah, there's that sort of early pressure. Gunnar is not going to be shy about sort of pushing in for those early trade-offs, and Eska's got to be really careful. He is pretty damn low, and a level 1 Fade Bolt might be enough to kill him if he's not more cautious. In the meantime, take a look at the side lanes here, because Devi and Alexo, they are on that duo that we saw earlier today. The sort of Mars Snapfire lane is always going to be obnoxious, but last time they were going into a Pugna. This time it's an Enchantress who is going to have a little bit more in the way of firepower to return here, depending on what creeps Husky's able to pick up.
Yeah, and at the same time, Wildcard doing a very good job body blocking out the small camp, having that large camp available to them if they do want to get the pull going. But it's where Husky is just one of those players. Of course, we always talk about his Chen, but his Enchantress is just as good, where he just gets the creeps. No matter what, no matter how many sentries you buy, no matter how hard you try to shut him out, Husky is always there for the preemptive play, and that is a really nice play. Doesn't get slowed up by that Scatterblast. Device should just die here. It gives it to Costabilia as well. Nicely played from Nouns.
Solid start for them in this lane. Costable is able to get a kill, got an assist on the first blood play as well, so this is going quite nicely, right? Able to be aggressive when he wants to be. He's farming well. Actually, all the Nouns cores are farming pretty well here, so strong start to the lanes here, which is something I think that they really do need after falling behind early on in the previous match.
Yeah, and we'll have to see what they're actually able to do here, as they actually let that troll spawn, which I hope is not going to be a mistake here, and they do get the cookie forward, but the pushback from the wildling, that is so sick from Husky. I love it.
Oh, man. Some plays, the spear does still come through, but it's Costable who gets hit, and he doesn't really care about that at the moment, so just to walk it off, and, well, pretty solid performance from them so far. Meanwhile, what is this mid? Gunnar went for the Fade Bolt first, into the Telekinesis, so not quite enough damage to find the kill, but Esk is not in a good spot. Empty bottle, Courier, not going to be a salve delivered, it's a set of tangos, so that means Esk still has to sort of stay back a little bit here, so Gunnar is just kind of getting some control of the lane. In the meantime, up top, Devi gets taken down again. That same Blade Fury in from Costable allows him to find the kill.
Yeah, it's the counter. It's the Jug versus Mars that you always kind of complain about, but it's where the pick just comes out a little bit too early for them to ever make a reaction to it. And with Snapfire walking back to base, Esk really is on an island here. He's really getting nothing in.
No.
I think he's just dead.
Yeah, there's no way out. Not level 6, he can't zip. Gunnar gets the kill as well as Husky pulls back to give that core over to his mid laner. Get the bottle refill here off the water rune as well, and oh boy, our Nouns just sort of firing on all cylinders right now. 4-1 kill count, and looking over at the bottom lane here as well. I mean, Moo's on a DK, so I don't know how much Yamsun and Sammy are going to be able to do to dislodge him, but at this point, I mean, it's not about the durability for Moo. He can actually pursue kills with Seafreak in this lane with him. they've got double stuns to work with.
Yeah, it's where unfortunately for Wildcard, they have to wait for really a long time before they actually have the magic damage or the resources to make these plays happen. And usually I don't switch net worth over until, 7, 8 minutes into the game, but I switched over to it now. They are so steadily winning the majority of their lanes here. They're just not getting very many creeps on the Wildcard side. They're giving up kills kind of left and right as Alexo is getting hit up again by the Hellbear Smasher and Devi. He wants the spear back, doesn't get it. He's able to walk away on Costabile, and these lanes are just falling apart.
Hounds are really just running away with this one early.
And look,
3K net worth lead as, oh god-esque. It's all falling apart here. 6 kills in 5.5 minutes, and if you're Wildcard, there is no immediate solution to these problems other than just trying to play more carefully, which is kind of just too vague to really be helpful. But they're not going to be able to be that careful. Yamsun's going to get stunned up here. There's the Inkswell stun. The Stroke of Fate comes through. It's yet another pickoff, and boy, oh boy, this is getting ugly if you're Wildcard, and not really sure when their next opportunity is going to be to try and sort of turn this around, because you need Esk to be 6, you need an arena up on your Mars, Devi just has to TP away from this aggression, and he will at least make it out, but while he's TPing away, they have eyes on Esk again in the middle lane. Gunnar doesn't have the damage to do it by himself, but that forces TPs, multiple TPs actually, as both Alexo and Sammy arrive, and the second Alexo's here, Gunnar says thanks for the spell. He's going to take Scatterblast, now he has even more damage.
yeah, and of course, not a high-level Scatterblast just so we're only 6 minutes into this game, but having 3 heroes having to put themselves in between you and your Storm Spirit so S can farm his level 6, I mean, nouns are just starting to pull ahead, and with all those heroes effectively doing nothing, 5k gold, I think this is the highest gold lead I've seen in a game. 5k at 7 minutes is absurdly bad for Wildcard. Nouns are just kind of not only getting whatever they want in these lanes, but also denying so much from their opponents here. The very least, Yemson's going to get a few creep waves underneath the tower, but it's where every single time Mu has it, he's going to go, yep, Blink, Dragon Tail, make him miss another 2 last hits. It's just not fun being anybody in these lanes, as another kill top onto Alexo. It's the Pine Cone, but it just doesn't matter. It's too much magic damage.
Husky's able to find the kill, and there just isn't really any recourse for Wildcard. There's just nothing that they can do about this. I mean, they just have to try and survive for as long as they can, as there's going to be a TP down bot. Esk finally getting going here with that zip, and okay, that's going to be a kill that they desperately needed. Yamsun, I don't know about this. Doesn't have the stun up for another second, and that is a tier 1 tower, so he's going to back away, but this is the first chance for Wildcard to try and claw their way back into this one. The Storm can now make some plays. We get another Null Talisman or 2 up and running and see what they can do from there. The problem is, they actually just lost an objective. The tier 1 is gone in the top lane, so Devi already getting kind of slowed down by the early pressure. Now he doesn't have as much space to start farming towards a desperately needed Blink Dagger.
No, he really doesn't have all too much, not to mention if that wave is far forward, you don't have TP support coming from your Storm Spirit, and as we always talk about with Storm Spirit, having these tier 1s matters so much for those early plays that you can actually make here. How many times do we see a Storm's TP in from Fountain with full mana, gets a kill on the laner just because he doesn't expect that kill to happen? Not to mention, the earlier they strike, the less effective your Coddle's going to be at defending towers, and I think getting Costabile involved this early, he's already incredibly farmed from the 6 kills he got from his lane, but now your mid tower's dead, you're just losing objectives with how poorly your early game went, and sure, the gold lead isn't really budging anymore, but you have so many heroes jungling on Wildcard's side desperately while nouns are cutting you off in the jungle.
Right, and as you said, the net worth lead isn't really budging much, but that's just kind of a lesson in relativity, right? It can't get bigger than this for 9 minutes. It's just not physically possible for that to happen. So, I mean, now, well, I say that, it just hit 6k, so they are pushing those boundaries every possible moment. They have taken every single one of the tier 1 towers, pre 10 minutes. That is something that I don't think we've seen since, like, 2014, 2015, just death ball days of pushing that effectively this early.
Yeah, and, well, you try to push onto a tower, you have the Fade bolts, you have the Stroke of Fates, Z-Freak is even baiting top a little bit with Gunnar this close. You'd have to see if he's actually able to close the distance here, but if Devi messes up this play and he's going to go for it without
He's
knowing about
silenced!
the Rubik, and he's got Arena. Not the cop that he wanted. He
And
definitely wanted
here
something bigger,
comes
but
the
yeah.
reinforcements. Moo and Husky rotate in. Devi's dead. Sammy, you can run as much as you want, but is not getting away. Gunner picks up the double. Tower defended. 2 more kills in their pocket, and I'm not really sure how much more could go wrong here for Wildcard. This is probably the single worst start to a game they could possibly endure, and oh, okay, at least Yamsun doesn't get picked off down bot. Kostable is not able to finish him off, but also did not commit the Omni Slash for that either, so if he were feeling greedy, he might have been able to give it a try, but he's going to back away instead, and that might open up an opportunity here. Esk and Alexo are pushing their way over, and maybe Kostable doesn't see them in time, but he's got the Blade Fury back up, so they need really just perfect timing with Esk's jump, and he's not even really going to try it. Instead, he'll jump into the river. They get eyes on Gunner. This is a much easier kill for them to pick up, potentially, but no, it's not, because Gunner steals Ball Lightning, and he is gone.
Only 2 nulls, you know. Not going to see him get the 3 to 4, you know. Not going to copy Eska tit for tat, but at the same time, if you could stick the jug into the Sven lane and then the jug is bullying the Sven, I mean, that's just miserable. And at the same time, as we've already seen, you're just not getting that much net worth. You're not really getting farm on anyone, and you're looking at those small items that nouns surely need. The Blink Dagger from Moo is coming so quickly. Gunner's just rushing a BKB. He is all business. They can really ride this lead into, I want to say, collapsing on pretty much all the tier 2s here. This is where the Enchantress is going to continue to be a brutal hero to play against. How do Wildcard actually kill the Enchantress outside of just, I don't know, the Mortimer kisses, but then you're killing a 5 position for your strongest ability in the game? I really feel like in their next batch of spells, if Wildcard don't get something going for them, there's no reason for nouns to not just kind of take you everywhere. They're occupying 3 lanes at the same time while not really being as scared of anything. Even in the mid lane, Husky's just bullying. He's just scouting out all of your rotations here. You'd love to kill him, but again, without the kisses, I literally don't think they can.
And you need the kisses, but then you also need the setup for it, so then you're looking at Divide needing a spear stun, or potentially even needing to pop the arena to set up that play, and then you're using 2 of your biggest ults to go after a support kill. So it's not ideal as Gunner. This is not ideal either, at least not for Wildcard as he zips in. He's going to get the lift onto Sammy, trying to pull him back here, pushing his way forward once again. Fade Bolt comes out. Sammy low. He will fall. They're going to get Alexo as well. Wildcard, you at least get your cores out of there safely, but they just keep on bleeding away these kills. 1 kill per minute is not tenable. If you're Wildcard, you can't be giving it up this quickly, but they just don't have any means of cleanly disengaging when they are jumped in on. Speaking of which,
Mid, huge.
Okay. Big kill if they can get it onto Gunner. They haven't finished him off. He's able to zip away. And look, oh my god, the ball lightnings, competing ball lightnings. The telekinesis now, though, stuns up 2. Yamsun's already dead. Excuse me, not Moo, Devi, wrong team. Tries to get away, not going to be able to do so. He'll be taken down. Esk zips past those opposing heroes, but Moo blinks in, gets the Dragon Tail stun. Cookie push from Esk onto Esk is going to be enough to get separation for now. Looks like Wildcard will be okay pulling back at this point, but that's 2 more heroes dead. This time it's 2 cores, and Gunner got away. I mean, he was able to just sort of zip continuously and really don't get a whole lot out of that play on the Wildcard side.
He even really toes the line there by just keeping himself in that fight as long as he had. He could have just defensively gotten in and out, but in almost presenting himself as a target for Esk, he gets another 200 or 300 mana out of the Storm Spirit, and then Esk is tapped, so he doesn't get to play. I mean, I don't know. It's a treat to watch. It really is. And at the same time, another great team fight for them. That was your Blink Dagger coming in as well from Moo. If he has any worse of an early game, I think they lose Gunner there for free, and Moo doesn't get that immediate disconnect. And, well, this is your free 14-minute Roche. Not a thing in the world Wildcard can do to stop this. They need to really focus on getting their small items here. Anything for the Sven, Blink Dagger on the Mars, and then maybe we could look at something. But whoever gets this Aegis is not going to be the target for Wildcard anymore.
Well, Devi is pretty close to that Blink Dagger, only about 100 gold away from it now, but the Aegis up on Kostable, your Juggernaut is just going to be right smack dab in the middle of these fights now. There is going to be no keeping him away. And Kostable is even really emphasizing more of that fighting build here. Always something you kind of like to see with the Jug. Maelstrom into S and Y is going to give him a fair bit of damage and durability. Lexo, unfortunate. Caught out there in the middle lane.
Oh, no.
And did they catch
And
another?
the lift.
Oh, Yamsun. Well, that's a problem. Yamsun's dead for 30, which means Nouns can just go looking for more. Hey, Devi, what's happening? He's going to get jumped in on here. Esk will try to come in to help, and he does actually provide enough of a distraction to get his teammate away, but now Esk has to make sure that he gets out as well. He will be able to do so, and Gunner tried for the Fade Bolt, but the Blink gets the Mars out of that sort of jump distance in time, so... Well, everyone involved in that sort of tertiary fight gets out of it, but Nouns still found 2 more kills, and they are set up for a push onto this tier 2 tower bot.
Yeah, and, well, I don't think there's much Wildcard can do. Without the arena, it's very obvious that Nouns can kind of just exist here, even though the smoke is fairly interesting here, and they are set up for that zip pull, but all they're going, if they go in Costa Bila, is the Aegis. They need other targets.
Can they do it without Arena of Blood? I don't really know. S could get some lockdown, and you have the Stormhammer as well. Maybe that buys enough time for the Kisses to kill someone, but...
They need Gunner.
Oh, Sammy trying to get away. Okay. It's that little bit faster for now, so... Oh, Esk is actually going to make a move. They're going to jump on a Z-Freak. There's those Kisses coming in. The Grimstroke will be taken down quickly. Nice first kill, but it looks like first kill may be the only kill, because they used quite a bit to go after that one. They will wisely just back themselves away, so... Hit and run tactics, really kind of all Wildcard have at their disposal right now is Moo. That's a very ambitious move. He does have Husky here to help him out, though, so I don't think there's going to be any consequences, but... you don't quite have the damage on the DK to make that play happen right now.
Yeah, and even though you do lose the Grimstroke, as I think they might lose the Coddle, yeah, there's just nothing that the Coddle can actually do in this situation, except for pop his stick and hope for the best, but still lose the Tier 2, and a Tier 2 that Wildcard were not sacking. They were positioned in, okay, they found Gunner. Where's the zip? Esk? It's so long.
Oh, man, he's coming, but yeah, it's just going to take too long. They do still get Gunner with the Vortex, though, but it's just not enough. Moo picks up the double kill. Alexo and Devi go down. Husky was the one to finish off the Storm Spirit, and Wildcard. I don't know. They're starting to run out of ideas at this point, really, and we're only 17 minutes in, but if your options are dwindling this quickly, this early, well, they may only have maybe 1 or 2 attempts at this before they call it, as Sammy is going to get jumped in on. That Omni is a little bit rude, but it's going to get the job done.
And that is really quite the sad zip. That's a level 11 Storm Spirit, by the way. 17 minutes into this game.
Son, you can't get caught. You can't get caught. You can't kill Gunner off fast enough either. Gunner's just going to be able to steal the Stormhammer, turns it around. He's got the Telekinesis in reserve here as well, so he's just waiting as long as he wants, and... Oh, there goes Yamsun.
It's just so easy. He always has been getting caught here on the sidelines as well. It's also vision in the dark. It's just good guesses. Not even a scan comes out to find that Sven. It's just really not ideal. I honestly think next arena, next team fight, gonna lose Alexo here, but as soon as that snap is up, as he gives Scatterblast over, and Gunner is just so powerful.
Oh my god. This is terrifying. And listen, a lot of the credit is going to get laid at Gunner's feet for this spectacular performance at this point, but I think the most shocking thing to me right now, every single lane from Nouns just dominated their opponents, as Devi going to get himself picked off again. This wasn't just Gunner one mid and the mid Rubik worked. Costabile just found the kills early. Moo got that Blink Dagger so quickly. They just won every single lane here in a situation where Wildcard were not really, I think, expecting to be behind this early.
Yeah, and, well, losing their big initiator there on the gates of the Tier 3. Moo pops his ulti, 15 seconds on the Aegis. It's an awkward timing where Wildcard can't really commit. You probably have that healing word up in a few seconds here. Even it's just the double heal strat, and you know we haven't seen Nouns really pull it out all too much here, but back on For Zoomers, they always love to do this. Just having those natural heals to play with just makes it so that your opponent's damage feels a little bit less weak. They also pull this out versus the Mars pretty much every single time, and Mars is that limited damage offlaner. And we'll smoke up. They could go for the play here.
Got the blink. Just need to find the right group of heroes to jump in on. Husky alone is not going to cut it. But Moo, well, he's going to preempt him, jumps in. Spear from Devi is well off the mark, and Sammy's just going to get picked off for free.
And now, what do you do? The lines are being drawn. The very sad lines drawn by your Storm Spirit, who can't zip TP in the mid wave, has 4 null talismans. And really, I wonder to myself if we're even going to see S get to the 25-minute mark where these all are going to double. But,
They
oh,
saw
yam, son.
that ward
No
getting
blink
dropped
dagger.
down.
He's so dead.
Yeah, he's going to try and fight his way out of this because he has no choice, but this isn't going to go well. Moose stuns him up, and they find the kill yet again. Yamsun is 1-5-1 at this point. This has just been terrible. For the Sven in particular, for Wildcard in general, really, because no one else has a much better stat line. They're just getting completely overwhelmed right now, and I don't know, at this point, I mean, we're 20 minutes in. They haven't GG'd out of this one just yet, but I don't know where the turning point is, if there even is one for Wildcard right now.
Yeah, it's it's not feeling great as Moo
Oh,
dives
boy.
the tier 4s and he's going to get pulled back. This is their glyph as well. They don't get to keep whatever target was already in the backline. Moo's eating a lot of damage and he could go down here, but I really think it's not going to change all too much here. Good spells landing, but oh my goodness, the damage.
Just too much damage. They're going to buy back with everyone they have left. This is their last hurrah. They are looking for some sort of win. Costable, though, was able to get off the Omni Slash, so he will live. It's Yamsun who goes down, and
Husky Rampage. Oh.
not quite, but, well, I said last hurrah. Technically, we're not done just yet, but, I mean, with the buybacks that they committed, they're using 3 of them in that fight. There just isn't really a whole lot left to fight with, so feels like Nouns can make one final push in here, and that may very well be enough to sort of just knock Wildcard over entirely.
Yeah, still though, 3 buybacks. I'm just sad Gutter took the kill on the Sammy boy there. That was a Husky Rampage. That was I mean, it's 8-0-14, you know, give the man some love, please. But it's still a dominating position, and now, well, I was concerned for Nouns, you know, talking about Wildcard's BKBs. Well, you're gonna have BKB up on that DK, and then Moo's not dying anymore. There really is nothing he needs to be scared of. The Sven is not nearly farmed enough. Unless this Sven had, like, a Bloodthorn and a Blink Dagger and a BKB, he doesn't even have the workings of a BKB right now. Can't really afford to get it either. Nice smoke from Wildcard, just trying to reestablish themselves out onto the map here. Probably going to place a ward on the high ground, just sit on it. But that's where Nouns have this beautiful little thing called walking up the high ground and hitting a tier 3. So anytime they can't really hold this smoke. If they decide to go on that mid wave, that'd probably be the best choice for Wildcard at this point. But it's where Nouns are being very careful. Look at the vision. Husky's looking to break a smoke, has a ward sentry combo behind, and they're going to go too deep on Wildcard with that smoke dissipating. Play is dead.
And now that it's dead, here comes the counter smoke. Nouns gonna start making their way into that south side jungle. They know people are here because they just had that outpost flip on them, so who will they catch? Gunner with the haste rune is in a position to just kind of charge his way forward. Can he get the telekinesis? Yes, he can. They got the Dragon Tail. They've got the Ink Swell. They have themselves a kill. S gets taken down, and, well, he's dead for quite some time after that buyback in the previous fight, so Nouns have the opportunity to maybe push this lane out a little bit more. Moo TP'd mid pretty quickly after that pick, so love to just march their way onto the high ground, get that backdoor protection out of the way. Alexo got to be very careful. Gunner, though, faster on the draw. Hits him up with the telekinesis, pulls him back. Dragon Tail stun is there. Fireball thrown down, and Alexo will fall. Not just anything that Wildcard can do, really. We keep saying the same thing over and over, but it's still the case. They just don't have the means to defend themselves right now.
Yeah, and, well, this is your first Rax. There isn't a Rax taken yet, but that's also where onto the melees, not much you could do here. Nice play on the Sammy boy. The BKB on the spear. Defy is gonna go down most likely as well. They're having the tier 4s. I feel like could see a call at any moment now. You're not gonna have your Mars for an incredibly long time. Of course, he is on dieback. You have your Storm in 10 seconds here, but I think if Yamsun dies, the game is most likely gonna be over. I don't think Nouns want the game to be over, though, to be honest. I think they want to keep racking up kills. I think they want to keep farming, and they might give their opponents a little bit of a chance here. They did have a nice Enchantress creep scouting out the Roche, so they do get to kill this very fast respawn timer, which, of course, does put them in a very good position yet again, but it is funny that we are still playing this game.
Yeah, Wildcard don't want to give up just yet, and Nouns want to, well, maybe keep enjoying this scenario and
Look at
pad
Esk.
the stats.
He's hit Nirvana.
Ah. The build of
I,
legend. The prophecy
now
foretold.
he just needs an ag synth, and then we're cooking with gas. But oh, he's gonna make it bottom. Look at that. Hey.
It only used up like half of his mana. God, these
I was gonna
nulls.
say, if he needed to, he could go back. Like right now, he could just turn around, say, I'm done with this. Yeah.
Ugh. Super balanced in terms of the item hero combo. Meanwhile, Roche did go down. Nouns were able to get it, so got the Aegis up on Costabile. I believe he's the one who grabbed the shard here as well, so got himself that Blade Fury upgrade. Wildcard, though, okay, it's a bump a little bit in terms of their durability. There's a BKB on Yamsun, so he's not going to go down quite as easily. At this point, though, it's just hard to really view any of these items as enough of a difference maker. But, well, Essie's going to try and get onto the back line. Mu, though, blinked forward, stunned up the Sven, and they won't have both of their cores dishing out damage at this point. So Wildcard don't really have an opportunity. Divide tried to blink in, looking for the spear push back, but the defensive telekinesis was actually there to save the day. Gunnar now blinks forward, uses a stolen spear onto Divide. Nobody's going down here at this point, but... oh, nice little four-man stun there, but not going to lead to much of anything, as Wildcard are just hoping that they can stall as long as possible, I guess, but as we said before, I'm not really sure what they can be stalling for. I don't know what changes the nature of this game for them, but they're not willing to give... ooh, willing to give up, Esk. Okay. Very wisely able to fall back. Gunnar ended up telekinesing himself there accidentally.
Yeah, and that's where the big benefit of the Storm Spirit and being on the losing side of a Dota 2 game is that Esk has this fountain to constantly regen himself up. He doesn't need to commit for any deaths here. It's where Nouns need to jump everybody aside from the Storm Spirit to start off those fights. I really don't think they can waltz onto the high ground like they did before there. It was honestly a very successful defense from Wildcard. A defense as well where you finish the BKB up on the Sven. Not saying they're out of the woods just yet. There's certainly a huge deficit they're still playing behind, but they do need to get their high ground push a little bit together here, as that is a nice BKB force out from Gunnar, though. Steals the Warcry, too. Not bad, not bad, but I think that's where you do have to be careful if you're Nouns. You play into the Storm Spirit a little bit too much, give Esk level 18. You could see a little bit of a problem when it comes to actually finishing this one out, but that's where how annoying can Esk actually be. It's so stupid. Any other patch, that's your zip TP right there in the mid lane. But because it's this patch, it's not.
It's going to be able to keep on doing it. Meanwhile, Nouns maybe getting a little bit sick of this. They're going to just kind of force it into that bottom lane. Move blinks forward. They get the stun down. They'll throw the fireball out as well. They get the silence onto the Mars as well. And, well, Yamsun on the back line taken down. Alexo falling as well. Esk is able to get back to the fountain at least, but buybacks are kind of limited. The Sven didn't have one. Alexo did, so the Snapfire is back, but really this is what Nouns wanted. They're finally onto that objective once again. They're going to sidestep the Ball Lightning. They will get the tower. Now they want more kills. Divide in some trouble, getting 4 staffed away. Jeez, that's a lot of 4 staffs, and well, he is alive for the time being. Alexo, though, may not be as fortunate. Gunnar is going to be able to finish him off there, and now Divide tries to push back in with the arena into the spear stun, but Gunnar uses a stolen spear to stun him up. Boo comes in with the breathe fire, and Llama does go down. Now, this really does kind of have to be the end of it at this point. Wildcard have 2 heroes up. They have no buybacks available. Esk is still just... I mean, he's zipping until somebody stops him, I suppose, but Nouns are finally sort of breaking through now onto that high ground, getting the second lane of racks. They can just rotate over and claim the third.
Yeah, healing word up as well. Got it. Nice from Esk. That's pretty sick, but oh! Goodbye, Sammy boy. Welcome back, Sammy boy.
Yep, got his buyback back up, so he'll rejoin the fight. Costabile is still not dead. Defensive telekinesis keeping him up. The Zips can't actually finish him off. The Illuminate will, though, so there's the Aegis out of his hands. That's undeniably a step in a positive direction for Wildcard, but it might be the only step that they get the chance to take here, because their tier 3 tower has gone down. Gunnar just stole the Stormhammer. He is going to be looking for a kill. He actually, oh god, he has the Ag, so he got pulled along with his own Stormhammer. That might not have been a play that he actually wanted, because he's now going to get punished for it. Yamsun will find that kill. They finally take another hero down here, and, well, here comes the Mortimer Kisses. They're going to switch their attention onto Husky. Husky is dropped down, and, well, I mean, they haven't lost yet. They're still kind of holding, but while all that's happening, Kosable is just objective-focused. He takes the ranged Rex. He'll turn his attention now to the melee. Yamsun, though, doesn't want to let him. Hitting him up with the Storm Hammer. They get the Electric Vortex down as well. Kosable, though,
Oh,
not losing nearly enough health. They'll just turn it around. Yamsun and Alexo are gone. Esk is standing alone here. There are no more buybacks. Divide, though, is, 10 gold away from his, so maybe he could rejoin the fight, but he's going to be rejoining into Megas, and I don't know what Esk can really do here. He's going to get stunned up by the Dragon Tail. He does still have mana
oh
to zip
no.
away, but he's silenced instead. Now he has to go for the TP. Can he make it away? Yes, he can, but no, he can't. He dies in the fountain, and the GG gets called.
You know, really glad kind of this game happened, actually, Nouns have proven to us that, hey, if you win all 3 lanes, doesn't matter who you are. And I guess that's also for Wildcard there. If you lose all 3 of your lanes, the game's pretty hard. That's really not something you get to see every single day, but man, oh man, Nouns kind of back to form there. That's the kind of game I think we're used to seeing from them, where they just really had the style points, had the lane stability, had Husky balling out of control, has the same amount of kills as Gunner, 13, 1, and 19. And really, it was Gunner and Husky that made their imprint on the map. They were just constantly bouncing around, so many creeps, so much damage, so many kills going their way. Not to mention Costabile being, I think, the most farmed I've ever seen on his jug. And not a good look for Wildcard, but that's where they have already made upper bracket. They're not going to be sweating too hard when it comes to their placement, but still knock down a peg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one that's going to sting a little bit for them, but as you said, they did what they needed to do today, right? They took care of business in the first match, so upper bracket secured. We shall see about the sort of number 1 overall seed. That's still going to depend on really the second half of this schedule, but for now, Wildcard are able to get themselves a 1-1 split. That's the end of their schedule. As we mentioned, they were really kind of front-loaded here in terms of their matches, but they do about as well as you could have expected, and I don't really think they're going to be too hung up on this final match. They can just kind of put it out of their mind. Some weird stuff happened there. On the other side of things, though, if you're Nouns, this is a rather sizable confidence booster, right? You just took a 1-1 draw against the number 1 seed, and maybe things get a little bit weird there in terms of the drafts in that final game, but you just completely dismantled one of the stronger teams in the field.
Yeah, it's a little bit sad they don't get the 2-0 in that series. Otherwise, they'd be kind of gunning for their own spot. But that's also where I think after their 2-0 or getting 2-0'd by Infinity, they're just looking for some good games. They're just looking for some fun Dota. And they had fun in this game. I think everybody was having a pretty great time there. It's just super clean, super easy. I mean, they made it look incredibly easy. And again, 5K at 7 minutes into the game, that's rough. That's not fun. That's not fun for anyone. And it's a deficit that I can certainly see why Wildcard struggled so much. And hey, they lose pretty definitively, right?
Yeah, there's really no getting around that. Just a clean old-fashioned stomp from Nouns. So 1-1 split for them. Very nice. We are going to be moving along here to our next series. We shift from the NA side over to a bit of a South American matchup, as that next series will be Hikori versus Osmium. A couple of teams sitting at around the same spot in the standings. Each of them have 4 wins overall, so that should be an exciting one. We'll see if one of those teams can make that jump up in the standings. In the meantime, I am looking to see if we have an interview. I do not believe that we will. That could potentially change. If it does, obviously ET and I will come back and let you know. But if you don't hear anything from us until the next draft, then obviously there was no interview. That's how that works. But we will be stepping aside for a moment. It's either going to be a winner's interview or the Game 1 draft coming your way in a little bit. So stick around and we'll return.